Monster Hunter Rise has made a lot of changes to the longsword. For someone like me, who spent a lot of time using the longsword in World, these changes are quite noticeable. I am going to detail all of the changes, and then I'm going to talk about how they've affected the longsword's optimal moves and the move rotations. First, there's an interesting restriction to the longsword's basic attack moves. In World, if you did a Fade Slash, you could go into a Spirit Jumping Slash. At this point, if you saw an opening, you could do your Spirit Blade 3 and then your Spirit Roundhouse. If, however, you didn't think you had enough time and needed to keep your options open for Foresight Slash, you could choose to do a Rising Slash after your Spirit Jumping Slash, and then use Thrust. In World, you can keep alternating between Rising Slash and Thrusts indefinitely, until you decide on your next move. In Rise, however, you no longer have that option. After a Spirit Jumping Slash, if you choose not to continue the Spirit combo, you will be able to do one Rising Slash, and then you will be stuck, unable to thrust. This can be considered a bit of a nerf, since those fast pokes were useful if you were unsure of what your next move should be, and wanted to keep a Foresight Slash in your back pocket just in case. Next up is the Foresight Slash and the Spirit Roundslash. The Foresight Slash now no longer drains your stamina to use, but mechanically it is otherwise unchanged. The Spirit Roundhouse no longer removes your Spirit Gauge when you go up a Spirit level. Also, you can no longer build Spirit Gauge by attacking dead small monsters, though you can by attacking dead large monsters. And I believe that's pretty much all the small changes. The really interesting stuff, though, is what they did to the Helm Splitter and the Iai Slashes, because it completely changes how the longsword plays. Let me show you what I mean. Let's start with the Helm Splitter. The Helm Splitter is tied now to the new Silkbind mechanic. To activate it, you need to use Soaring Kick, which will send your hunter flying in the direction of your choosing. If the kick connects, you can press ZR to use your Helm Splitter. Do note that if you don't press CR, your hunter will instead use a much less useful Plunging Thrust. Plunging Thrust does less damage, but it doesn't use up your spirit level and raises your spirit gauge over time. But back to Helm Splitter. Helm Splitter works much the same way as before. Your hunter jumps up in the air and deals several instances of high damage in exchange for a spirit level. So yeah, basically the same. Except that it's awesome now. The move is very fast. You aren't spending 4 seconds in the air and having the monster knock you out of the sky. And, even if you did get knocked out of the sky, the Helm Splitter will still do its full damage to the monster. You can use Soaring Kick from a distance and still get a Helm Splitter. You can use it to evade an attack if you wanted to. And my personal favorite, you can chain it to a Foresight Slash during a roar or any other opening, and do a Helm Splitter. The new Helm Splitter is amazingly useful, and you should be using it all of the time. Which brings me to your other Silkbind skill, Serene Pose. It puts your hunter into a stance. When attacked, he counters, and can chain that counter into his Spirit Slashes, at the cost of 1 spirit level. It seems to be mostly a oh shit button of sorts, but I'm sure it can be useful. However, you should be striving to use your wire bugs on Helm Splitters as much as possible. Finally, let's talk about the changes to the Iai Slashes. The Iai Slashes were my favorite additions to Iceborne. They added some much needed options to the longsword's core moveset, and the fact that they were both counters was really cool, and gave hunters a lot of choices of what to do between strikes. The problem was that as counters they were really hard to use, at least compared to every other counter in the game. The timing for the normal Iai Slash was particularly strict, to the point where it was just not worth using. The Iai Spirit Slash was easier to pull off, but was still sufficiently hard that many players chose not to use it much, if at all. In Rise, none of that applies anymore. The normal Iai Slash drops all pretense of being a counter, and now it's just an option to string your moves together. The Iai Spirit Slash is still a counter, but in comparison to how it used to be, it is easy as shit to do. In addition, the normal Iai Slash now replaces the first Spirit Blade in a Spirit combo. This is a massively impactful change. Let's consider how this affects our gameplay when we have the other changes I've mentioned in mind. You see, in the past, after a roundslash, there was a bit of clunk in your rotation, if you wanted to do another spirit combo. Your options for continuing to attack were let your sword sheath completely and then attack, or do an Iai Slash and then move into your spirit combo, neither of which felt very good. Besides, even if there was a way to smoothly transition from roundslash to another spirit combo, you wouldn't have any spirit gauge to do it with, since roundslash would have taken it all. In Rise, the slashes never stop. Since increasing your spirit level no longer resets your gauge, roundslash smoothly transitions into an Iai Slash, which then can be changed into a spirit combo. Now for the Iai Spirit Slash, it has a couple of changes. First of all, it no longer uses up your spirit level, regardless of whether you activate the counter or not. And second, take a look at this. If you activate the counter, you can immediately chain it into another spirit sheath and counter again, as many times as you need to. All that is pretty impressive, but the most monumental change to the Iai Slash, in my opinion, would have to be the fact that successfully landing the counter now increases your spirit level. Now by itself that may seem like a small buff, but when you consider the newfound access to Helm Splitter, it becomes significantly stronger. At best, you could do a Helm Splitter, go into an Iai sheath, counter the monster, and then go straight into another Helm Splitter, which is of course amazingly cool. Some final thoughts. All these changes now leaves your rotation with absolutely no openings. This is truly a great time to be a longsword player. You see, you're safest when you are most aggressive with a longsword, since your foresight slashes and your Iai Slashes can only be used after an attack. Rise has given the longsword not just a massive buff, but has also made the weapon just feel better to play. The longsword was consistently the most popular weapon throughout the history of the world, and considering how much better it is now, I really don't see that changing. And I believe that's everything. Please let me know if you think there's something I've missed, or if there are interesting move combinations now open to us that weren't available before. Thank you for watching.